Star Wars. Young Jedi Knights. Jedi Under Siege. Chapter 25. Out in the unexplored jungles of Yavin 4, on the far side of the moon where Luke Skywalker established his Jedi Academy, the wrecked TIE fighter smoldered after the crash. The cockpit hatch opened and Coral crawled out, coughing and wheezing. With a heave from his human arm, he raised his shoulders and worked the rest of his body free. His droid arm sparked and fizzed from damage it received in the crash. Coral felt no pain, though. He was still functioning on adrenaline as he hauled himself out of his ship. His legs were stiff and numb, but they still worked. He dropped down from the ruined TIE fighter, then staggered to the protection of the trees, just in case the craft exploded. Alone in the jungle, Coral watched the TIE fighter smoke until he was confident that none of the engines would go critical. The wrecked ship gradually heaved its last sigh and died. The damage to its craft was severe. Its outer hull had been punctured by iron-hard Masashi tree branches. Its two planar energy arrays ripped askew. One had even been broken off. As he had flown in, pummeled by the rebel forces, dodging turbolaser blaster bolts until the fatal strike had caused him to reel out of control, Coral had seen the Star Destroyers defeated. While wresting control of his TIE fighter, he had watched the Shadow Academy explode behind him. He knew now that all hope for the Second Imperium was gone. The Emperor self had been aboard the Shadow Academy, as had Lord Brackus. The remaining Dark Jedi fighters on the surface would no doubt be rounded up and taken as rebel prisons. Coral had much to regret. Rather than let one of the Solo twins die, he had made the choice to sacrifice his twisted student Norries. That had been a betrayal, and he was ashamed of it. Surrender was also betrayal. But Coral had never surrendered. He found himself stranded in the jungle again. His ship was beyond repair. The Second Imperium was defeated. Coral had no place to go, no orders to follow, no reason to do anything other than search for a new place to live. Perhaps it was best this way. He could make a nice home for himself here. He knew this jungle, the fruits that were good to eat, which animals were easiest to hunt. Coral realized that, despite the glory of returning to the Second Imperium and fighting once more for his emperor, he had enjoyed those years of solitude, the quiet peace of living alone in the jungle. In fact, he decided this fate was not so bad after all. Coral trudged off in the jungle to search out a new home. This time he intended to spend the rest of his life there.